Welcome to RainbowSoul Vodcast, where our Soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Brighthawk's positive perspective and LeKross's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to RainbowSoul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else RainbowSoul is offered on our website at RainbowSoul.show.
Welcome to RainbowSoul Soulstrology Forecast. This is Hollis Taylor, and I'm one of your astrologers here. You can learn more about me or get a reading directly from me at my website. It's real easy to book through there. You can find it in the description. And
Hollis gives great astrology readings, I'm just going to say. Well, and coaching and whatever you need. So I'm Brighthawk. You can always learn more about me at brighthawkproductions.com. I'm an author, artist, astrologer, delighted to be able to play music. And our friend...
Hi, I'm LeKross Ortiz, professional student, jack of all trades, master of none. I'm here to learn and hopefully put a little input on animals and, spirit guides that could help.
right, awesome. Well, we appreciate your input, and we love that you're learning along with us, because I think that's also a draw of our podcast, is that we try to make it so that you can apply it to your own chart, so you can learn astrology yourself. So don't be afraid to ask questions or post a question in the comments. If you have one, we want to answer them. That's how we want this podcast to be learning. So we're always trying to teach as well. Okay. So, my friends, I welcome you, and I invite you to take a moment, to take a deep breath. Let's ground and center, get ourselves here and now. And take a deep breath. Get present in your body, feel your seat. Feel your feet. Take another deep breath and just allow everything that's happened in the last week or so to just roll off of you. As you move forward, I want to invite you to take a walk out in a beautiful garden on a beautiful spring sunny day, where it feels like your skin is just reaching for the sun. Where you feel like the sun is warming your skin and feeding you, where you feel inspired by the weather. Not too hot, not too cool, just right. And surrounded by beautiful plants growing, just getting a spring start. Things starting to turn green and little flowers beginning to bud on trees. And a beautiful little garden. And as you stand in the middle, you notice that it's a circular middle, that you are in the center of a circle in the garden. There are flower beds and growing beds to grow vegetables and such in a circle around you, reaching out like sun rays from within you. But you are in the center of that circle. And just as you begin to look up at the sky, you recognize as others begin to come out that you love and or feel connected with, they come join you in this circle and hand you glasses to look at the eclipse. And as you watch, you put on the glasses and you're able to look at the sun. You can actually see that the moon in its darkness is beginning to move over top of the sun, beginning to block the sun's rays. It's a very slow process. And as you begin to enjoy the company of their loved ones around you, you feel connected, inspired, and uplifted by this transformational phenomena in the sky. Feeling grateful to witness such a phenomena. Feeling the connection of people around you and recognizing that you can celebrate and love others as much as they can love and celebrate you. And that these are the people that you want in your life. And as the moon completely covers the sun, you recognize that all of you have come through the connections you've had to shed in the past and how that serves you in this moment here and now with all of those people around you, all of those loved ones supporting you. You are grateful for the influence of the universe in our transformational experience of life. And as the moon begins to move off the other side of the sun, we recognize that we are going forward. We are going forward with these connections we have now, in gratitude for what we have and what is within us. Gratitude for thinking and believing and feeling in a higher vibration. And knowing that the past will be the past. And we are going forward to the future. Feel the gratitude and the love and the peace within your heart. And know that there are always better things unfolding for you all the time. And as you allow those feelings to unfold within you, you believe them, you hold them true in your heart. You know this vision is your truth and your future and your understanding of what's happening right here and now in our world as we move forward in our lives. And as your vision come into your body right here and now. Take a deep breath, feel your body, stretch and shake your fingers, wiggle your toes, and feel your body in the here and now, and get present with your body, thanking it for the ability to vision your future. Open your eyes and coming into the here and now. Woohoo!
Thank you.
Great job, Bright Hawk.
Well, great job, Hollis.
I'll tell you, I've this eclipse season, you know, it does different things to all of us, and I've been aware that there could be some things around, you know, around like fear and things like that, because of my Aries Libra houses. Pluto's actually in Libra for me, and Pluto rules fear. And so I've been trying to be more like conscious of what I'm feeling and thinking about my health, because Aries is in my house of health. And so I've been like, okay, this eclipse is probably gonna, you know, stir up something with your health or your day-to-day life or something, you know. And so, like, remember what I told you in your chart, you want to look at where is Libra, where is Aries, what houses are they in, what other planets are there, and that'll give you a flavor of how this eclipse will affect you. And so I knew that mine was going to be affecting like unconscious thoughts and behaviors because of the 12th house and my health, okay, and or my day-to-day life, which both are interrelated. And I've been challenged with perimenopause and things like that. So we're trying to, you know, now I'm trying to, like, I've started to do some transformational things. And I was listening to Michael Beckwith. If you don't know who he is, you should look him up. He's a great preacher. He is not Christian by any means. I'd say he's spiritual or conscious, if I had to label him in that way, but he does come across as like a preacher style. And I thought it was really beautiful that he reminds you that everything you need is within you all the time. It's just a matter of sort of digging it up and finding it, and transforming. So I'm trying to transform the experience that I have within my health that I've had for like 10 years, okay? So I know a lot of people don't talk about perimenopause, but here I am. I'm talking about it. It happens for a long time for some of us. It's not an easy process. It's a hormonal experience that feels like it freaking hijacks you on a regular basis, like you're doing all right, you're doing fine, and now you're not. So I've experienced everything from migraines to other and lots of unusual symptoms, and I'm grateful that I've had access to some other alternative naturopath type healings, and also to recognize that there might be some things in my mind that I can shift to make it, to help me get through it faster or get to the other side in a at least more peaceful way. So I've been working really hard on that. I think pretty much since Pluto has been at the last degrees of Capricorn, and Pluto rules, you know, the brain, and it's in Capricorn. So that's going to affect your system. And so, and there's been a lot of that going on in the world, you know, thinking about how the brain works. And as it moves into Aquarius, it's going to be more New Age, where we start to recognize people like Dr. Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton, and we start to recognize epigenetics and how stress has an influence on our health. So I'm just saying that those are, that's where I've been at with the eclipse, and I'm sure all of you have had your own experience with the eclipse. I hope recognizing that it's the eclipse has helped you go, wait a minute, what am I supposed to learn from this craziness? Okay, instead of like owning the victim, because you could be like, oh, this is terrible, this is happening to me, this is terrible, right? And that's one perspective. You could choose to, it's fine if that's what you want to do, but if you want it to change and you don't want to have that experience, then you can choose a different experience. And the different experience could be, what am I supposed to learn from this? How am I supposed to shift this crap? How am I supposed to do this differently? And I feel like that curiosity when shit goes wrong is more helpful for me than just being in the woe is me. I've never really found that helpful.
Right.
Like,
you got to ask good questions. What don't I know? What do I need to learn? What's seeking to get my attention? Is there something I'm missing?
Is there some unconscious behavior at play here?
Yeah. Yeah. But much better question than, why is this happening to me?
Right.
Ask a stupid question, you'll get a stupid answer.
Or like
your brain will fill it in.
Right.
So I feel like I've learned a lot from you, and I've appreciated some of the talks that we've been listening to about just how powerful our minds are, and making sure good stuff in, good stuff out. Garbage in, garbage out.
And that the answer is within you.
Yeah.
And I found that so if you find yourself asking some questions like, is this relationship like screwed up or toxic or something? Do I need to change this relationship? The answer is actually within you. No one else can answer that for you but you. And you know the answer. And I think that, like, and I say that to people all the time that come to me for coaching and things like that. I say, well, what do you think? And then they say, well, this is what I think. And I'm like, well, I think what you think is correct. So I'm telling you that you're right. So if you needed me to validate you, there it is. And now, so you knew you were right. So maybe that's true. So whatever you guys have been struggling with during the eclipse, my heart goes out to you. May you find the right question to ask. And as we move forward, you find the answer to that during, hopefully, the solar eclipse, right?
Powerful times. Not always easy, not always comfortable, but certainly powerful.
Absolutely. So that's why we did the little solar eclipse meditation, because I want you to recognize that there's an answer to what's happening at the end of this. Okay, that it's not just all for nothing. All right. And so as we begin, this forecast is from April 1st until the 8th. We're extending it through till the 8th because the 8th is actually the solar eclipse. Okay?
Pretty big highlight of the year. So begins April, a very important astrological month of 2024.
Lots of big things happen.
A lot going on here, folks.
Lots of revolutionary energy. I mean, the eclipse in itself is revolutionary, and then later on, I think it's April 20th, Uranus and Jupiter will come into a perfect conjunction, and then that's revolutionary as well. So I'm just going to say lots of revolutionary experiences this spring. Holy shit, there's new stuff happening, okay? Like, we are transforming into something new. Okay, so as you start to unfold the eclipse, whatever that means for you, there's a lot going on in Aries, so you should definitely be checking in with where is Aries in your chart, what house is it in, So a lot of times there's like an inner circle with little numbers 1 through 12 in a pie, sort of pie formations. And those pieces of the pie are different houses. And so you could just Google it. What does the first house symbolize in astrology? And it will tell you. Okay. And so Aries has a lot to do with like independence and getting us out of the gate, high energy, very like, woo, let's go. And that's very Aries energy. Let's get started. Let's get this going. Let's, okay. And I can feel it. I feel like Aries is like, there's like some sort of psychic Aries behind me kicking my butt, telling me to get going and get transforming and get my hands on whatever I need to hear to transform. Like, I feel like it's back there kicking me in the butt. Like, so if you feel like there's something behind you, literally kind of like pushing you like this, like there is, that's Aries. The North Node is there. The Sun is there. Chiron is there. Chiron wants you to find the healing that you need to find. And Mercury is starting to go retrograde there. So that means you might review some things where you're like, I had this problem before with this person. I'm not sure this is really where I belong, or I'm not sure I'm supposed to be doing it this way, right? So for me, because Aries rules my house of health, I'm not sure that it's all just a matter of the hormonal imbalances in my body. Maybe some of it is up here, right? Okay, up here in my brain and needs to be shifted. Okay, so those are the kinds of things. Have you noticed the Aries energy in between the lunar eclipse, Bright Hawk?
I think so, for sure. And what I'm also noticing is so much of the chart right now, and for the next few weeks, I think, is the energy is focused between Pisces, Aries, and Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the end of the chart, so to speak. Pisces is about completions. It's spiritual. It's watery. It's mutable. It's mutable, right? Flowy, and it's Pisces. Which is always in big contrast, in my opinion, followed by Aries and its fiery nature, and the fact that Mercury is answering to Mars, and Mars is conjunct Saturn. We say that because Mercury is in Aries, and Aries is ruled by Mars. And Mars is currently conjunct with Saturn in Pisces. Mars isn't crazy about being in Pisces, you can imagine. It's not exactly... it's a fiery sign in a watery house.
I always think of it like pouring a bucket of water on a fire.
It's like thanks.
Yeah.
Right? So not exactly at its strength, but with Saturn that push of Aries, spring, let's go. Oh, Mercury retrograde. Wait. Are you sure you're ready for that? Just hold back a second. Review that. Is there something else we need to go over? So that's what the vibe has, a little bit of a push me, pull me kind of thing, I think. So, and just so much concentration in those three zodiac signs. Venus and Neptune conjunct. You have that Mars and Saturn conjunction. You have the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. You have the Chiron North Node Sun conjunction. So there's just like these major clumps of conversation and energy that really kind of influence the whole week.
Pretty much in the spring of all the energies in spring. Like, it's all about getting going. Even Taurus with Jupiter and Uranus coming together in Taurus. It's like, Taurus is already spring earth sign, about manifesting things and bringing things to us. And, then you have Uranus and Jupiter slowly coming together there. And Uranus tends to be surprises, and Jupiter tends to be big surprises. it can be good things or bad things. You don't even,
Hard to
it could
say.
be mediocre things or things that you're not sure about, but they'll be surprises regardless of how you see them. And so it will depend probably where Taurus is in your chart. Okay, so you want to be watching out for that. And Pisces, Aries, and Taurus are going to be right in a row in your chart. And I noticed that the moon's in Capricorn, right? Huh?
Right. It's the last quarter of the moon, right? Because we're headed towards the solar eclipse, which happens on a new moon. And so you can see the moon is at the top of the chart, and the sun is at the top of the chart, and the moon, if you were looking at a clock, it would be at 3 o'clock. But in astrology, it would be on the descendant horizon, on the descendant line of the 7th house. So that angle right there, when, right, it's very easy to see that square. So when the moon is in Capricorn, it's going to answer to Saturn. Saturn is in a conjunction with Mars in Pisces.
Makes me think about the war.
There's enough of that, man. There's just too much of that.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go for it.
When you say look at your Pisces, Aries, and Taurus in your chart, are you talking about the actual placements, like, or are you speaking of like what house they're in? Like, what exactly do you mean?
Both.
Okay.
So like what is in Pisces? So Pisces, Aries, and Taurus will be in right next to each other in your chart. The symbology may look like the symbology here, which I know it's hard for me to, I don't have a pointer on here. Maybe I should figure out how to get a pointer. But Aries, Pisces kind of looks like the two fish like this together, and it's blue usually. Aries looks like horns like this, and Taurus is a circle with a little half circle on the top of it. And so those 3 signs where all those planets are, all of those planets are transiting over top of your Pisces, Aries, and Taurus. So they're moving over top of that area of your chart. And that's why we're saying that, because whatever's there, whatever house it's in, and whatever planets are there, it's going to flavor what it looks like for you. It's going to change the flavor. So it's going to depend on what house it's in. So like I said, like Pisces for me is in the 5th house, which is creativity. And Saturn, ever since Saturn's been in there, I haven't been able to engage in as much of the writing as I would like to engage in. And that's my creative outlet, right? Okay. So Saturn sometimes is restrictive. So since Saturn's been in there, I've had that experience. And then Aries is my 6th house, which is health, right? And I explained that going on. And then for me, Taurus is in my 7th house of relationships. And for sure, I'm experiencing a change of friendships and communities that I'm part of.
No, thank you.
So, yeah, you're welcome. So, that's what you want to be looking at. Where are they? What houses are they?
Yeah, and then you look at a map that says, okay, and what do those houses mean? So for me, it's houses 6, 7, 8. That's 6th house is going to be all about daily living and practices. 7th house is about relationship, and the 8th house is about sex, death, and taxes.
And other people's money. Taboo.
Yeah, I'm having a Jupiter return in the 8th house, which is other people's money. So could be great, could be, might send Hollis to go buy a lottery ticket, something like that. Right? Other people's money, right? So something weird. Mm-hmm. With Uranus, Jupiter can be weird, so who knows what that means exactly.
It's probably a surprise. It's probably going to be like
surprise a minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to know the degree of.
That's pretty much the vibe of most of the week, mm-hmm. except for how the moon moves.
Exactly.
And
of course, we've talked about before how Mercury is retrograde this week officially.
It is officially retrograde this day, Tuesday. Officially goes retrograde on Tuesday. I assure you can probably feel it on the 1st because it's stationed. I think it's stationed
27.
on Sunday, Monday,
Yeah.
and then it's Tuesday. It actually starts going backwards, and so just gonna might be reviewing some things, going back over things. Um, hopefully you've handled your computer, your car, anything that was going to break. Hopefully you've handled those things. If you haven't, just be aware that you might have a problem with them during this time. If it was already going to break, it's not like new things come to the surface. It's usually like stuff like, your car's been making that noise for 3 months now, right? And then all of a sudden we find out why. Okay, so that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those of us who have Mercury retrograde, I just want to say, there's the potential to get things done. It's back to what we're familiar with. So, use it to your advantage. And speaking of to your advantage, the moon, it's always good to understand what the movement of the moon. And we know the moon moves every 2¼ days signs. So at the end of a sign, when the moon is at the very last degrees of that sign, and when it's no longer involved in what we call Ptolemaic aspects, it's a fancy word, don't worry about it. It means that it's void, which in the language of astrology, a void of course moon is a time to take a rest, to take a break. It's when the energy we're exhaling at the last energetic degrees of a sign. It's not the time to launch your boat. It's not the time to, you want to launch when the tide's going out, not when the tide's coming in, right? So this is about knowing what the timing of the moon is. Now, the one thing I've been learning about, and I'm just going to keep talking about this for a while because most people are not familiar with the void of course moon and what it means and how to take advantage of it. It means take a break, take a rest, or if you're doing something that you want to not have a lot of energy, you want it to just go by. Like if you had a conversation that was, you don't want it to have heat, you want it to be chill, do it during void of course. There just won't be a lot of energy to argue, hopefully. So you can use a void of course moon to your advantage with knowing what the energy is good for. So on this day, on Tuesday, it goes void in the evening. It's perfect for you to take the night off and go to sleep because it's if you're on the Pacific time, the void chart that I look at is in the Pacific time. So I just decided just put it in Pacific time. People can figure it out. It's not that hard. So say 11 to 2 in the Pacific time. Mountain time, that would be midnight. East Coast, it'd be 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Hopefully you're sleeping, right? It's a good time to be sleeping.
So hopefully, yeah, like I'm thinking, like if you have a hard time sleeping, that Tuesday night's going to be a good night to get a good night's sleep.
Get a good night's sleep. Capricorn moon slides away, and then we go into Aquarius.
All right. As the moon moves into Aquarius, I notice it's moving by Pluto. Whew. Yeah. And I'm like, whoo, Pluto, man. He's going to go backwards there in a little while. But for right now, Pluto's at 1 degree Aquarius. So anything you have at 1 degree in your chart, you want to see if it's in an aspect to Pluto, which is about change. So if the eclipse isn't enough, something is changing you. And so I'm just going to say most of the world right now is experiencing some sort of changes. Mm-hmm. Pretty much everybody is experiencing some sort of change, some sort of transformation, some sort of life shift or awareness or awakening to something, okay?
Yeah.
So, and that's pretty much what's going on. And so, you also want to look for anything in your chart that's about 1 degree, and on Wednesday it could really get enhanced because the moon's going to be visiting it at that time. Okay, and so as we move into Thursday, April 4th, you want to notice that the shifts are going to be happening. And I think with Bright Hawk, I don't know, but like I feel like with the moon in Aquarius, it's going to really speak to that Uranus energy, those surprises. So Thursday, April 1st, it's probably really going to speak to that. What do you think?
Yeah, the Aquarius moon, when the moon is in Aquarius, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, often also known as our revolutionary, massive change planet, right? And we are looking and we'll be watching Uranus and Jupiter get closer and closer together. And so in this particular configuration on this day, on Thursday, it's squaring. The moon is squaring Jupiter, Uranus, which means it can be a tougher conversation. And it's sextiling the Chiron Mercury conjunction. It's Chiron, Mercury, the sun. Like there's North Node, like that. There's just such a cluster up there.
Having a party
Aries,
up
man.
there. Even
So,
Venus, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. So the moon is, on the one hand, sextile to the sun, yay, wonderful, beautiful. On the other hand, square to Jupiter, Uranus. It's answering to Uranus in Taurus. So it's not going to be easy for everybody. Sorry, and
But wouldn't it also be like, even if you do get kicked in the ass, if you do get like, kicked or something happens on Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even into Friday, but probably Wednesday or Thursday, I think it's probably kicking you on the right path because of Chiron and Uranus, and it's
that's
all
the hope. That's
yeah.
the hope, that if you're paying attention, it's not the course correction is 2 degrees and not 10.
Yeah, it's just a thought, just because of
Yep.
the square to Jupiter and Aquarius and the sextile.
Right.
It just feels like with all that energy up there in Aries pushing you forward anyway,
Yeah.
it's going to be like, no, I said go this way. And you're going to be like, okay, right. All right, let me knock that off.
So
Right.
the moon goes void, of course, at 10:40 p.m. until 4 a.m. That's Pacific time on Thursday. Adjust for your time zone. Add 3 hours if you're on the East Coast. And that's perfect. It's a great time to be asleep.
So Thursday night, get a good night's sleep then too, because
Yep.
you might need it.
Right?
And we get into Friday, I noticed the moon's going to join us up in Pisces, and I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah. Then the party becomes Mars, Saturn, Moon, Mars, Saturn.
Right.
And yeah, another conversation in the water.
With the moon. So I feel like, the moon, because it rules tides when it's in Pisces, I always feel like it's like rocking the boat. Like it just comes in and rocks the boat a little bit. Maybe with some emotions or some intuition or whatever.
I want to say just don't be rash, because Pisces doesn't always see things clearly, and you've got Mars there with Saturn, and I just want to say look for insights as opposed to allowing reactions to happen. Things might look different in a day, so just look for insights as opposed to that's it, I've had it.
Try not to be reactionary.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I feel like there's a little possible explosion.
Okay.
Like there's just a little. Yeah, just be careful.
Yeah, I would just say, try
Take
to
a
be.
break. Do the 90-second rule. If something's triggering, take 90 seconds and go outside and breathe. You'd be amazed about how powerful a minute and a half can be.
For
to
sure.
Reset yourself and
Yep.
say, whoa, I'm in charge, not whoever is pushing my buttons. I'm in charge of me, not them.
Yep. When I used to work in difficult situations with people, I've worked in warehouses and I've been a nurse, and difficult situations come up when you're working with other people. I think it's just kind of reality.
Human nature.
And when they come up, I would just go to the bathroom. No one's going to tell me my bladder is not working right now, because it is, and I have to go to the bathroom. And I would just go to the bathroom, even if I didn't have to go to the bathroom, and I would just go in there and breathe, splash water on my face. Sometimes I would cry, because when I'm frustrated, I cry. And so if you're one of those people, that's okay. You don't want to cry in front of everyone, because then they think you're like sad or manipulating or something. It's just, that's how you express yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. So go cry in the bathroom, and then put some cold water on your face, take a few deep breaths, and go out intentionally. Go out with an intention. How am I going to handle this shit? How am I going to handle this situation? I know I've been in that situation so many times, I couldn't tell you. And that was my wisest, best handling of those situations. Because I definitely have experienced some triggering moments. So, Friday could be kind of triggering. So hopefully you'll just go to the bathroom, or go get in your room, or go for a walk, or whatever you need to do to remove yourself so you can get clear-headed again. Okay?
Yeah. Drink water, anything sensory to interrupt the cascade of here we go, and do something that interrupts that when you catch yourself and go, not doing that. We're doing this differently.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you can do to change your sensory experience. Go outside, do some deep breathing, have something to drink, eat, or smell.
I feel like Saturday is kind of the same energy too.
Yeah.
It really is. But it is in a sextile. It is in a sextile to Jupiter and Uranus, the moon. So I feel like it's pushing you onto, you're supposed to have this experience in order to get on your life path, because Uranus is very much about putting you on your life path. And it will benefit you if you take the moment to take a breath. If you take the moment to take a walk, you might realize, okay, I'm glad I didn't blow up at that, and I'm handling this a little differently. I think it'd be better if okay. And so, so be aware that might be what, when you when you're not reactionary, that it might actually be a gift. So
I feel like the Saturday energy, Friday's going to be harder. Saturday's going to be like, oh gosh, I'm so glad I didn't do that.
Right.
Thing that would now make me feel embarrassed or ashamed. So Saturday should be easier, and it's a Pisces moon. We're getting really close to the last sliver of the moon.
What does it go void on Sunday?
Sunday, it's a black moon.
What does that mean?
So sometimes the day before, what we call the day before the new moon, we sometimes call it the dark moon.
Okay.
Where, again, dark moon meaning it's a great time to let go of whatever the past period was, and what's the seeds and intentions and things you want to grow in this new cycle. New moons are all about, what do you want? The universe wants to give you what you want, and most people never say what they want. They never ask for what they need. They never clarify their intentions. But I know that's not you, because if you're listening to this, you are a smart person who knows how to set intentions and have an awesome life. And that's the name of the game. You came here to do a job, right? So let's do the best job we can, having the best possible outcomes in the best possible time. So this is like the pre-day, pre-game day, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and I feel like at this point you might have a good idea of how to resolve whatever you've been going through with the eclipse, whatever you've been experiencing. You'll have a good idea of what the answer is, and how to resolve it and how to go forward. And I feel like as you approach Monday, the eclipse in Aries, because the solar eclipse is in Aries, I feel like it very much speaks to, like, the sun is already about, like, going forward and which way are you going. It's like your flashlight in life, right? Okay. And the moon is going to be perfectly conjunct the sun during the day on the 8th. And it's in Aries, and Aries is the same kind of solar energy, right? This is the way you're going. Go that way. Get going. Sort of the kick you out of the gate type of energy. And so it's going to be very much about, okay, I know where I'm going. And Chiron is there with it. So Chiron is like, hello, you're healing this. You are the wounded healer. You have discovered what is within you that must be expressed in order for you to go forward. And I think that that's really like the beauty of Chiron being there. And even with Mercury going retrograde, you might even be reviewing how you speak or what you say, because whatever the healing is that you must experience in this eclipse is really projecting you forward. It's really pushing you forward. And so you're going to be able to verbalize what healing you need to be able to get, or at least you'll be able to review the language, like I'm trying to have languaging. Instead of saying I have some sort of disease or sickness, I'm saying I'm experiencing that, or I'm trying to work on that, because it's just sometimes you fall into, I've had it before, but now it came back, and understandable with everything I've been through. Okay, so we just need to shift it again. I need to get away from that unconscious behavior, which for me, that's where Libra is. And then, and it's in my 12th house, which is unconscious behavior. 12th house is about unconscious, can also be about like psychic abilities and things like that. Okay. And Aries is about pushing you forward. So I feel like that's exactly what's happening to me right now. So what's happening to you? We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, because the intensity in Aries and of course in Libra. So if you have placements in Aries or Libra, you're definitely going to be feeling a lot of this. But then of course when we go out to the sides, those who have big placements in Cancer and in Aquarius, those are going to be squaring everything that's going on, squaring the nodes, and that could be tough. I'll be honest with you, squares. It doesn't have to be tough. It can be an opportunity to really make a change. And that's what eclipses are about. And the reason why everyone's kind of jumping up and down about the times in which we are living, and why congratulations to you on taking an interest in astrology, whether it's us or anyone else, good on you for learning astrology, because these cycles, these years, this time right now, we're like starting another 20-year cycle. This Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that's coming up, another really big once in our lifetime kind of moments.
I think this happens every 12 years, Jupiter and Uranus.
But in a different sign.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so in this sign, it's been really, I'd have to look it up in the stelliums. But I mean in the word for the star maps is
the chart, but
the charts, yeah. Gosh,
starts with the E.
Word just totally went out of my head. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is how we figure out the stuff, and history and all the rest of it.
And the
the what?
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All three of us, and we're still going. Oh my God.
We can see it in our head.
Yeah.
Ephemeris. Thank you.
Ephemeris.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
Mercury retrograde or what?
The ephemeris is sort of like the star atlas, if you will, and so that's how we would know when it happened. But a lot of astrologers, we're not the only ones. A lot of astrologers have a lot to say about this month's astrology. So good job on figuring out how to surf this best for you. We're all in it together, and there's a lot of promise, right? Having entered the time of, the age of Aquarius, in truth, there's a lot of possibility on the horizon, but it definitely means, change is rarely without making people uncomfortable. So we hope that you're going to have a great week with whatever happens in your chart. Please let us know. Do you have big Aries placements? Has this been intense for you? Has it been a great time for you?
How's it turning out for you? Yeah.
Which house is flavoring this whole thing for you? Which one's getting really shook up. I would say for me, it's the sixth house, having, recovering from broken leg and surgery and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's definitely gotten a lot of my attention and focus. There's nothing like that to sort of talk about Uranus, man. 2024 just feels like Uranus came in and just wiped the table. You were doing something? No, you're not. Now you're doing this. So I feel like I'm finally, literally standing up on my own 2 feet again, and that feels pretty darn good.
All right. Well, we wish you the best in the eclipse.
Yeah.
So, LeKross, did you have anything that you wanted to share?
Well, we're still in the season of the hawk. I did want to mention something, about keen vision, and like now is really the time to focus on keen vision, but also like hawks, they're supposed to fly higher to get bigger perspective. And I'm a little concerned with the whole Pisces thing. And it kind of reminded me, if the hawk goes too high, its vision is obstructed, whether it's by clouds or whether not being able to directly go after what it needs to go after because it went too high. So I think there has to be this balance. Yes, you have to fly higher to get perspective, but you can't fly too high, because if you fly too high, clouds or water, that's just, it could obstruct your view, So yeah, I was really thinking about that, because normally they're so adamant about the keen vision of the hawk, but I'm like, if they go a little too high, they don't, that could be obstructed,
Yeah.
so just be careful with going too high and getting your vision obstructed, because that's another thing. We were talking about illusions. This is the time when all your illusions are going to be broken down. So with that being said,
Neptune in Pisces.
Yeah. It's so for some of us who do have, like me, the strong placements, it's been rough, but you got to rely on the keen vision and look at your other signs that you can use, that you can benefit, that can help you, because we have these other signs that we can draw that energy from. Because I may be a Libra, but sometimes I'll pull Aries energy, or I may be Aries and say, nope, I need some Libra over here to balance me out. So, yeah.
We all have every zodiac in our chart.
Yep.
Excellent.
That's beautiful. Thanks, LeKross. Yeah, that's totally there. And I'm gonna pull 3 cards for us. And this is a Pride deck. Love is Love. It's on Amazon, and it's essentially each card is a different LGBTQ artist. So this first card is the 3 of Cups. This is a beautiful card because this is about commitments and coming together, especially emotional commitments. This is very much about celebrating love and celebrating togetherness. This is very much about love and relationships, but also about other emotional commitments, and a reminder that that those commitments are true for you, and they were part of who you are, and they are part of your transformation, and they are part of what you've been through. All of these things are part of our experience. And as we're going forward, the moon here is going to remind us that we go through cycles, and sometimes we shed things. And this makes me think about, like, a lot of people are probably working through some relationship stuff, and maybe you made a commitment in the past and now that commitment is changing, not just in love relationships but in other relationships. And if that commitment is changing, that's okay. This is the moon. This is about us going through cycles and changing. And the moon is here to remind us that there is a tide in and a tide out, and cycles to ourselves, that things are supposed to change. We're not supposed to be the same forever and ever and ever. We're supposed to transform. We're supposed to constantly be reaching to be a better version of ourselves. That's the whole idea here. We're not supposed to come in and become, life is not a destiny. Life is a process, and it's a journey. Okay, and that's what the moon is here to remind us of, the cycles of life. And that's going on right now during this solar eclipse as it passes over the sun. And going forward, I find this is hilarious because we're involving the moon and the sun like crazy here. And the 8 of Cups, and this card always reminds me of overcoming obstacles and then moving forward, figuring out what we have to deal with, what do we have to line up, what do we have to change in ourselves, what unconscious behaviors need to be shifted, what can we change, and then go forward and go towards the light. That's why the sunshine is at the top here, and you can see the moon is kind of giving the dirty look to the person climbing up the stairs. But really, that's because the moon represents a shadow, and most often, especially in this card, the moon represents our shadow, right? And kind of think about that in the solar eclipse. The moon is the shadow moving across the sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the shadow. So, our shadow is often parts of us that we're not real happy about and things that we need to shed. And so this card is a reminder that you are capable of doing that, and that you're capable of moving towards the light, and that you will be rewarded once you get to the top of those stairs. And it could be a little bit of a process getting to the top of those stairs, says to somebody that has been challenged with hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. The heart condition I was challenged with makes it hard to climb stairs, okay? Just so in case you didn't get that joke. And most people that have been challenged with it suffer with that. And so when you get to the top of the stairs, you got this. You got this. You can get to the top of the stairs. Climbing stairs is not always easy. So remember, there were some commitments in the past, and it's okay to celebrate those and to recognize that at that time and at that experience, that was part of what you were supposed to be doing at that moment, in that time, in that point in time in your life, in your past. And then going forward, remember that there are cycles and things are meant to change. You are meant to change. You are not meant to stay still. Don't ever let culture tell you that. You're supposed to change as much as possible, and only you know what needs to change. You know deep inside what needs to change. You just need to figure out what those things are. And as you go forward, just remember that when you do change those things, you see you've lined up all the cups, you've dealt with those unconscious behaviors, you've dealt with maybe toxic people or whatever you've had to do with your emotions, and now you're climbing the mountain, and at the top of that mountain is the light, and you will find the light. And that's what this card is a reminder of, that you are headed towards the light always, even when things are hard. So
That's beautiful.
That's pretty much what this is about. So fascinating. A lot of moon and sun on that. Just saying.
How the tarot reflects the astrology. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
we wish you all the very best. Thanks so much for liking and subscribing and all that fun stuff. We love your comments. We so appreciate you. And we wish you a really magical and profound, awesome solar eclipse.
I hope you get a chance to go out and look at it. Please use glasses. Don't take pictures of it unless you have something on your phone. It will burn out your camera on your phone, by the way. My son did that last time. So don't do that. Just use a pair of solar glasses and put it over your phone camera, and then you can take a picture of it. So if you were wondering how to do that, that's how you do it. And you can get glasses. I noticed that there's a bunch of solar glasses. You could probably get some still on Amazon. So
have a good one.
Yep, and thanks for watching Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.
woo, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.